Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome into Mornings with Loretta. And let me tell you, this is a show that I am super excited about, number one, like always, but it has, I'm kind of in my feelings about it because it has really caused me to look at my life, my relationships. Even though I don't have daughters, but I have sons, and I've seen, and all my friends have daughters, right? And now I have two daughter-in-laws. So it's a conversation that needs to be had, whether your relationship is rocky. Because one thing about mother-daughter relationship that I've found just in my experiences, when it's good, it's super amazing. And when it's bad, it's bad. So, but that doesn't have to be the end of it. We thought that was the end of it, but we have two rock stars that are joining us today, Lindsey Glass and Lindsey Glass, who have done a lot of research. They're sharing and bearing their souls with us so that they can help us. And their new book is The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover. I keep telling them I'm gonna say takeover. For some reason, I think that's their next thing. I've already shared that with them, so it's no secret to them. Everybody, welcome to Mornings with Loretta. And all of our names start with L, so you know it's going to be triple amazing. We have Leslie Glass and we have Lindsey Glass. Hi, ladies. Good
Hi,
morning.
Loretta. L
I'm so
lady.
geeked by this conversation. I already told you this is just the beginning for you all. You thought it was just a book and a documentary and some conversations. It's a takeover. It's a movement. I just want to tell you that publicly. So let's just dive in there. What was the need to have this kind of conversation? And I want to thank you all because you're so vulnerable and transparent in all that you do. I've seen some of your other interviews and then this book too. And I just can't even imagine how difficult it was. But as we can see, it was rewarding. So, Leslie, just start with you. What do you want to start with?
Well, I just want to tell you that we have seen in our many years of writing about family relationships, we have seen so many suffering mothers and daughters. And we had our own ups and downs, Lindsey and I. And we knew over a period of time that many people needed more tools to be able to have more satisfying and happy relationships, peace and serenity, compassion and forgiveness.
I'm telling you, this conversation, if I get through this without tears, it is going to be nothing but the grace of God. So you recently wrote The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover. Tell us about your book. We're just going to start at the top and then drizzle it down because it took a lot of tears and fears and anger and trauma to get to here. So let's start at the top and then we'll bring people in along the way.
Okay, so I'll just give a quick description of the book. So because what we really wanted to do with the book was take what we went through and let anybody be able to go through the experience themselves so that they could really transform. So it's a 4-step process that we're going to take the reader through using our own story as the backstory to make it relatable. But step 1 is self-discovery. Step 2 is all the biggest mother-daughter areas of conflict because it's not just you and your daughter. We all fight about a lot of the same issues. Step 3 is triggers, trauma, and conflict resolution because until you understand what your triggers and your family trauma is, it's very hard to stop fighting if you are fighting. And then step 4 is really healing and reconciliation, how to do it safely, what the timing can look like, and how to be okay if you can't reconcile, because sometimes that happens too.
Ooh, and after reading some of the book, because I haven't finished it, because it's really forcing me to go inside myself and how I feel about certain issues and conflict and relationships. So it's not going to be one of those. It's not a novel. You're not going to read it and fall in love with somebody and fall out of love with somebody. Although your mom is good with that too in her previous life in author writing. And so let's just, because you told us about the 4 steps, but to me, when you said it's not just how your mom was loving you and parenting you as a mother, we are parenting a lot of what we went through what our mom went through, what our grandmothers went through, and then you're receiving it as a daughter based on what you just see today. And we don't even know how to articulate that to you while we feel. But one thing I know about moms, and until you are a mom, it's hard to understand. We love hard, and our love comes off hard and toxic sometimes and manipulative, but it's really at our core because we love you. So Leslie, what can you add to what we've already said about the 4 steps? And then just it's not just us loving them, it's our moms, how we were loved and they were loved. It's so deep.
Well, I think at the very beginning of the book, we say it's not just your mom that is speaking to you, because your mom learned from her mom and her mom learned from her mom. And basically, you can go back through the generations, and it's both culture, it's tradition, and it's just a way of being that we have learned from the people before us. So we haven't really evolved into knowing, even if we think we're in a completely different century, we may be working on traditions that we learned long ago. And that's one reason that we want our readers to look back at where their mothers and their grandmothers and their great grandmothers came from, so they'll have some understanding. But there's also that issue of dependence and independence as moms. And you were saying that we seem controlling and we can seem manipulative, but our job is to protect our children, both boys and girls. And so there is immediate conflict between our wanting to keep our children safe and our children wanting to have the independence to make their own choices. And often those choices, those children making choices, are before they're ready to.
Yes.
They don't have
Absolutely.
the experience to make safe choices. So we have to walk that very careful line between letting our children experience, have experiences, but not ones that are going to bring them to harm. So
Yes. Lindsay, did you ever feel like it something that you felt like you did to her to make you feel like she didn't love you? What were you thinking? I know this started unraveling maybe you were 15. I heard some of the backstory, and we just don't have time to go into all of it because I want to talk about this book, because this is a tool that we can start passing out to people so they can help heal their relationships. So Lindsay, as a 15-year-old daughter, having these disagreements with your mom, what were you feeling like you weren't getting from her?
Well, it was a complicated situation because I think what I felt at the time, and I hear it echoed with teenagers today, I didn't want to disappoint my mom. I didn't want to say things that were going to start fights. I didn't want to tell her I was doing things that I knew she disapproved of. So while I kind of desperately wanted her love and approval, I also was in a place where I really didn't know how to ask her for that in those words. And because I was so frightened that the things I was doing were going to make her angry, we sort of got into this place where deep down we both wanted the same thing, but the way we were talking to each other and dealing with each other was almost the opposite of what we were supposed to be doing. And truly at the heart of it, I didn't want to disappoint her.
Oh, wow. Now, see, that breaks my heart because we're all in this circle of not wanting to disappoint each other, not wanting to hurt each other. And then because we're not communicating that, we end up doing the one thing that we didn't want to do. So
that's exactly
I'm going
right.
to have you all come back on this show. We're going to have to do this again because there's no way we're going to get to where I want us to, because I want to talk about the book. So what was it like to work with each other's writing styles, and how did you find a way to merge the two into one cohesive narrative?
I'll start and then I'll let her jump in. So we were really good because we were hands off when it came to telling our own stories. I think she had one request from me. I had one request from her. And other than that, we had free reign to do what we wanted with our own pieces that were our own point of view. And then for the narrative, we really worked together on it. I would do a draft, she would work on a draft. And once you've done that 10 times, it sort of seamlessly comes together. And the good news is we've been working together for 12 years. So we really know how to complement each other's writing styles. What would you add, Les?
It was really interesting because when I didn't tell Lindsey what to write about herself or what not to write, I learned so much about her that I never knew before. So I think it was a extraordinary experience letting Lindsey tell her own story and her letting me tell my own story. And basically there's a lot of the book that we kind of worked together. And there were some parts of the book that she worked on entirely by herself, but I'm an editor. I'm going to edit. She has to live with that.
Absolutely. Once you write a book, you just everything you watch and read from now on gets your editing stamp for some reason. We just cannot turn it off. But to be able to write such a profound book with somebody so close to you and share that same story, because it's always what they say, it's just one story, but when there are two people, there's two stories. Now there's three stories. There's what really happened, what they thought happened, right? And how it affected them. So I'm telling you, just to be able to get that done, and then, like you said, cohesive. So what are some of the misconceptions that people have about reconciliation, and how does the mother-daughter relationship makeover provide a better understanding of reconciliation in the process? Because we think when we reconcile with somebody or forgive somebody, then it's all roses and we go walking on the beach together, but sometimes it's not. So how do you tell people what reconciliation? It looks different for everybody. So how do you manage that?
No, that's absolutely right. And I love talking about the biggest misconception about reconciliation, which is you don't actually have to fully forgive somebody to want to reconcile in a safe way. So one, there's a process with forgiveness and healing, and one has to respect that timeline. But you can decide to reconcile before you have fully gone through this process. And forgiveness is a practice. So you can forgive somebody and then be angry again. So you really have to re-forgive. And these are some concepts that we want to help people think about. So it isn't as black and white as, well, I'm still angry, I'm never going to talk to this person again. Well, it doesn't have to be that black and white.
I want to add something to that. I mean, Lindsey and I didn't speak for 4 years, and I was very angry. As a mom, I was really hurt and I was very angry. And for a while, Lindsey wanted to get back with me over a period of time. And I wanted her to say, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry I hurt you. And that just wasn't going to happen. So I had to go through the process of, do I want my daughter? Do I love my daughter? Do I want my daughter back? And I had to decide, yes, I do. And that means that all we really want as moms and daughters is to love each other and be loved and have compassion. So I had to get over the fact that I was angry, get over the fact that something bad happened between us, and then say, I'm going to accept her for who she is. If she accepts me for who I am. And then we learn that there are just certain places that we're not going to go. We're not going to trigger each other. We're not going to say bad things to each other. We're going to live and work in kindness and serenity. And I think we're pretty good at that, Lindsey, now, don't you?
If I'm going to ask my mom for money, I have a good reason and a safe space to ask her. But seriously, these are, issues that if you've thought about for a long time, you really have to treat with sensitivity and care when you come back together. So you're right. It's not as simple as, oh, I forgive you, because you can forgive and then you're back together and you do something to trigger somebody and you're right back where you started. So it's a process.
It is an ongoing process. And we're talking mother and daughter, but I'm telling you, if you want to have any kind of healthy relationship, be it professional or intimate or platonic or neighborly, these steps can help with that. But I'm telling you, that unique bond between a mother and a daughter, I can only compare to a mother and a son, because like I said, I didn't birth a daughter, but I have lots that call me mom. And to see you all have done the hard work, because I've seen it at its ugliest, and then I've seen it at its most profound love and care and a mutual appreciation and affection for each other. So of the four, I don't even know how much time we have. We're already into 15 minutes. Oh my goodness. So of the those 4 steps that you talked about, Lindsey, which one was your favorite to write about and why? And Leslie, I'd love to start with you on that one.
Okay, well, I love the fourth step. I really love the recovery lifestyle, and I'm guessing that Lindsay's going to say the same thing. It's hard to break down what hurt you in the past, what your mother did, what your grandmother did, what the communication mistakes have been over time, misunderstandings. But when you get into what you know about recovery and how you can be kind and loving and all the steps that we have that you'll get to, Loretta, when you get to the fourth step, is how do you continue having a wonderful loving relationship, and what are the things that you can do for each other on an everyday basis.
All right, I'm going to surprise you and give you a different answer. I really love step one, which is self discovery. Because when we started this book, I would have said that my mom was the most controlling person on earth, and she would have said that I was the most controlling person on earth. So it is really interesting the way we see ourselves. And then when you start to write down what these communication styles that you have are, what your personality style is, what kind of nonverbal signals are you giving? You can learn a lot about yourself. And that's part of what we want to do here, not just point the finger at the other person, but really understand, what was I bringing to the table? What was my attitude, the way I spoke to her, the way, I was looking at her when she walked into the room? What was that bringing to the situation that created conflict?
Because I'm hearing, when you just said that was really profound. What am I saying? Because sometimes we'll say, well, I didn't say anything, but honey, it was the look. It was the energy that you were sending that tells me it's something going on that you don't like and that you want to say, but you dare not say for whatever reason. And sometimes I think it's because it's not, like you said, I need a safe place to ask her for money. I need to know, you just have a plan when you ask me for money. And that's for all of us, right? Don't just act like you just asking me to walk down the street or give you a hug when you're asking for a lot of money. Okay, so I'm going to ask one last question, because I will keep this conversation going on for the next 30 minutes, and I can, and I know you can't. So what is the main message you hope readers take from the mother-daughter relationship makeover?
You go first.
I'd like to hear both of your perspectives.
Okay, well, I think the main message is that we want to love each other. We want to be loved. That's the main message. And that we can find a way to do that if we understand more about ourselves and more about the person that we're, whether it's your mother, whether it's your daughter, whether it's your son. It's like, what are they seeing? What are they feeling? What is my energy? So we want them to take away, you can make your situation better no matter what situation you're in. And Lindsay will tell you what happens if you can't reconcile.
But, the thing I want people to walk away with is, one, just because it's one way now doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever. Things can really radically change. And I want mothers and daughters to get back on the same team. I was very guilty of saying, I hate my mom, or my mom is crazy, and she's not, and I don't. And I want us to learn how to respect each other and bring some compassion back into the relationship. So instead of just saying, my mom is annoying because she can't make decisions, let's give her some options and help her make decisions, because maybe that's hard for her. So kindness and compassion instead of just saying bad things to each other.
And that's for every relationship, I'm telling you. Because I even wanted to talk about this book cover, because it's two faces, but if you just look at it, depending on where you are in your soul and in your journey, you may just see one and something else, because that's the beauty of art, right? So many different perspectives and interpretations. I just want to say to Leslie and Lindsay, wow. And I think because there is so many toxic mother-daughter relationships, and we need to have this conversation continuously all the time. And I would love to do this again and have more time, because it is a thing. And when we heal that mother-daughter relationship, I believe we will heal so many different kinds of relationships. We'll heal families. The dynamics will break generational curses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
That are in our bloodline. And that's all of us. There is no perfect bloodline nowhere on this earth, nor has there ever been, other than Jesus. So we got to do the work. And you all have proven, just so beautifully that it can be done. So when I look up toxic relationships and having them healed and what reconciliation looks like, I look at Leslie and I look at Lindsey, and that's what it looks like for me.
Oh,
So thank
Loretta,
you for
we
the
love
work. Thank you for
you. We love you. Thank you.
so much.
Where
What a
can people find the book? Tell them where they can get the book.
Everywhere books are sold. Anywhere and everywhere books are sold.
Amazon,
I know you all do something.
Walmart.
Is there a retreat that goes along with the book? What else goes along with this book? Because I know, where can they find you too? Because there is you do something as you did the documentary and Reach Out Recovery. Can you just tell them about that? Because I want people to connect with you, because this is a tool, a valuable resource that can help, can really change toxicity into real love.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, we have 12 years worth of wisdom on our website, reachoutrecovery.com. Reachoutrecovery.com. Our documentary is The Secret World of Recovery. We are currently developing a mother-daughter daily website that you'll be able to see inspiration every day. And so we're working on more ways that you can find us. We're going to build a community. But right now, we didn't know that people were going to love this so much. So we weren't as
We're playing catch up.
Yeah, we have to do catch up. But right now, you can all find us on reachoutrecovery.com, and you can find our books wherever books are sold. You can find our book, Amazon, anywhere.
That's incredible, because I just think it's so super important that once we share this kind of information, this deep, profound information about human nature and relationships, it is equally important not just to share, but have some landing place for people.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have a landing place and that people can continue this and they can get additional help, because we can't solve it all and show them everything in 22 minutes. Although we've tried, we've given them a great start here. So I'm just glad that there is a landing space for more conversations, right?
Yes.
For
That's
more.
great.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go for real. It's like, I'm gonna let you go. I promise this is it. I'm gonna end and I'm gonna close, but I just want to tell you that you have impacted me in such a way that I feel like I will be a better mom now too, and a better daughter, because it's okay to say how you feel, and it's okay to get clarification and understanding and to love people through it, and if you have to take some time away like you did, you broke up. I like how you say that, Leslie. We broke up for 4 years and then we're back together. It's okay if you break up, but if you really want that relationship, and your soul will cry for that person, it'll need that person in your life some kind of way, then make the phone call, send the text message, and we want to show you how. So you just make sure you follow them. So in closing, I really got to close. In closing, I always say this, Leslie and Lindsey: think positive, dream big dreams, and help someone along the way. And guess what? I will see you all very, very